Hello.
We're here. We're
Yeah,
live.
we are. Finally.
I think we're both struggling a little bit today.
Yes.
Globally, we're struggling, and individually, as people, we're struggling today. But we're here. We've made it.
as as people are struggling a lot.
Oh, yeah. I woke up with a migraine, which I haven't had in a while. So I'm pushing through. I was telling Camelia that my Excedrin has kicked in. So that's
That's good.
exciting
Are we
and
gonna see
perfect.
a really just hyper version of Kayla?
Maybe. Yeah, halfway through, I'm gonna be like, wow, that's amazing. This cringe is great. Yeah, hopefully not.
I mean, the cringe is so great, you guys. You're just
Cringe is
gonna feel
strong.
like elated.
Yeah, exactly. How are you feeling?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm just a bit destabilized because I'm not in Bucharest. I'm in my hometown now, and uh, I just didn't bring my lights because my sister had some lights here, and
It's
then when I
okay.
got here, my my mom had broken one of them, so I was like, okay, lovely,
Guess
thank
I'll be
you.
in the dark today.
Yeah, it's kind of dark, but this is what we're working with, guerrilla style.
Yeah, I like it. How are you doing in the sense of the conflict in Ukraine, Russia, and that little thing, that little side note in history going on right now?
I feel like I was hoping that, when we talked about it last week was the last time that we would talk about it. Just because I was hoping it would stop, not because I don't want to talk about it.
True.
But basically, I feel a lot more optimistic. I feel like Ukraine is holding up really well.
Yeah, I've
And
been surprised to see that, sort of.
yeah, they are just absolutely badass. Like, I've never seen anything like it. And I'm absolutely in love with President Sexy Zelensky.
President Sexlinsky.
Yeah.
I saw your
I'm both.
TikTok about
Oh,
where you were fangirling.
yeah. So it just so happened that that was a TikTok that took off. And
Of
so now
course.
probably I should capitalize and just, you know,
I wonder if I can
make sure
find it.
that I. Oh gosh.
While I look for it, describe what the TikTok looked like so I can have
It's
a moment.
probably the last one there, or the second to last
Okay,
on
wait,
my
I found
TikTok.
it. Hold on. What audio did you use?
Well, you will see in a second.
Okay, hold on. Okay, I'll have to reset it. Hold on.
Smash. Susie, what was the game? Smash or pass?
Let's watch it again.
Smash.
Oh god.
Susie, what was the game? Smash or pass?
I like the comment at the top was like, some of us don't post stuff like this because we have respect for his wife.
Oh
Gross,
my
he
god.
doesn't want you. Okay, relax. This is TikTok and you live in a totally different country and he's under conflict. I don't think it's serious in any way. God.
Yeah, no, but that really hurt my feelings because
Really?
what do you mean he would never want me? Why?
So mean. Shelly, how dare you?
Obviously.
How dare
But
you?
yeah, just I think the fact that I mean, like, aside from the fact that he looks great, I think the fact that he's been so brave and stayed in Ukraine and all of that has really just given a lot of pathos to the citizens, and I think they're fighting harder. Or maybe they were gonna fight anyway, but I think it's wonderful when you have like a proper leader who just it's like the um
The hero
the
we all need.
fantasy the fantasy hero, right? Like, but it's reality. Like, it's so so lovely to see
I was
that
lis-
there's people like this.
Yeah, and I was listening to something from the New York Times. They were saying that because he had like FaceTimed into a meeting with a bunch of European leaders when they were deciding what sanctions to put on Russia, and most of the countries were like not interested in imposing very strict sanctions. But because when he FaceTimed, they saw him, he was like in a bunker and he was dressed in, army fatigue, and they saw how serious the situation was, that they had decided to then take more aggressive action against Russia because he was there. He was like, what's the word? He appealed to their emotional side, and it really helped, they said, to flip the script and kind of take such action as they did against Russia. So, I mean, he seems to be
Yeah.
really doing a good job.
Yeah, and I think the situation is just so dire that there was really not much, because if other countries get involved, if alliances get involved, there will be a world war. So at this point, they just have to kind of let them help them defend themselves, essentially. And it's just, I think, so amazing what they're doing. And I mean, like, I am shocked every single day. Like, have you guys seen the Ghost of Kiev, or heard of the Ghost of Kiev? So
No?
this like fighter jet has like apparently like brought down like 7 or 6 Russian jets.
Wow.
Like, just him by
Jeez.
himself, like going around shooting them. Or
Hmm.
I'm not exactly
Interesting.
sure the details of this, but it's basically just this one guy flying around, and they,
Just
because they
taking
don't
care
have
of
much of
business.
an, yeah, they don't have much of an air force, and yeah. Anyway, it's just amazing what they've done, and now I don't know if you saw this, but basically they have a strategy that is very interesting. So you guys, first of all, like the brainwashing in Russia has been going on for a very long time. So it's very hard to really just, for people to believe fully when they hear of outside news. Like, it's hard for them because they've been trained to think of the West, of Europe, as the enemy. Like,
Sure.
this has been going on since before Putin, like since probably even before Stalin. So it's been a long time of the Russians being told that um the West is our enemy, like we are a powerful force, they don't want us around, that stuff. So obviously that has a lot of impact on what they believe. And
Sure.
now I saw this news that one of the strategies that Ukraine is using is they're asking mothers in Russia to come pick up their soldier,
Oh,
the soldier
yeah.
kids that are have been captured.
I
And
saw
I think
that.
that's just, I don't know if this was the intended purpose, but I feel like if there's nothing stronger than a mother seeing with her own eyes what the Russian army has done
Uh
in
huh.
Ukraine, and coming to get her captured son alive from Ukraine. Just like, can you imagine? Because like it's so powerful. Because they're not imprisoning them. They're like, come take them home. Like,
Showing the humanity that they have and showing like we're not, what they've been telling you that we are. And here's proof because we're going to show you, like, come get them. We're not going to kill them on the spot or whatever. That's,
yeah, and
yeah.
they've even apparently offered them money to surrender, and essentially just kind of stay in Ukraine. It's
Yeah.
like, it's impressive because like it's going against them. And I saw this obviously it's hard to like really know all the time what's real and what's not, because of course there's so much content right
Oh,
now.
yeah.
But this was on the news, so I'm assuming it was kind of verified information. But this captured Russian soldier was saying that they've treated him better than at home. So
It's really interesting that this whole thing has it's almost made the European Union stronger. They've all come together against this conflict, against Russia. That I don't think anyone expected because there's been so much turmoil, as sure as you know, with Brexit and all these different more nationalist kind of movements throughout the last few years. No one thought that Europe could come together and fight against Russia, but here we are, kind of all, well, I'm not in Europe, but a lot of Europe is standing together and, making a stand against them. And it's also that people in Russia are protesting against the war, which people didn't expect, I think, because there's, grave consequences when there's any sort of uprising there or anyone speaking out against the government. So that's surprising. So it almost seems like in a time where everyone felt and feels very divided, that, and unfortunately, it's like some tragic events usually tend to do this, it's bringing people together again in a positive way. And it sucks that, people have to die in order for this to happen. But it seems like people are starting to see a little bit of humanity in each other, at least at this point, as opposed to, oh, us versus them. I don't hear a lot of that rhetoric. I hear almost the opposite. Like, okay, no one wants to be here. The only person who wants to be in this conflict is Putin.
Yeah, exactly. The Russian soldiers apparently are starting to protest themselves by not going. And so I think that they weren't aware. And that's something that is very just fascinating to me. How can you lead a country like that to the point where literally your soldiers don't know why they're going where they're going? Like he is not loved in Russia, and he is
No.
probably only loved by generations that have been brainwashed long enough. And I just think it's very it's everyone gets united against injustice, and I think that's what he tried to do with Russians, to unite them against the injustice of the West, essentially, before. But that's why he always portrayed Europe as the enemy.
Yeah.
But this is working a lot better, I guess, right now.
Yeah.
Since but he's also just he's not doing well mentally. I'm not sure, because
I can't imagine
because
he's doing great
yeah,
right now.
I
Things are
saw
not going
chilling.
well.
I saw a really chilling video of one of his advisors talking to him. And you know how Putin really likes to be really far away. He's like at his desk, and like those guys are at the door on at a standing desk or something. It's, first of all, it's like just like chilling to see that setting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, apparently he's afraid of COVID, and like, well, who knows? Anyway, maybe he doesn't want to get assassinated. He knows that it's
Well,
probably
yeah.
coming.
Yeah. That's probably
But
a good
he
idea.
was
Good idea for him.
he was terrified of talking to him. Like, he was just terrified of saying what he was trying to say. It's like that's his one of his closest advisors or whatever, like in that situation. And it's like you can't even talk to this guy.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
I mean, Russia's well known for, killing people who dissent in any way, even in a small, subtle, like, oh, I don't quite agree. Like they end up, fleeing the country, and then they get poisoned on the street. Like that's very typical from what I've heard, Russian protocol. So yeah, I think if I was in that inner circle, I'd be a little afraid too, to like say the wrong thing.
Yeah, and I think
piss him
that
off.
nobody knows better than the inner circle what's happening, because
Oh yeah.
they are the ones that hear the commands of like torturing people or killing people. They're the ones like putting them in practice, making them happen.
Sure.
So they know very well. Have you seen that movie? Oh gosh, what's it called? There was one about Stalin, something like Goodbye Stalin or whatever. It was a comedy. It was like an American comedy made recently, like well, 2 years ago probably at this point. Stalin comedy. 1 second. The
Laura
Death of
says,
Stalin.
oh, I've never heard of it.
It's so funny. Like, you should watch that. It's just, first of all, they did an amazing job with the cast and stuff. But it'll show you what happened with Stalin, and it's very similar right now. I like, in the sense that the culture is like that. You can tell when
Yeah.
you see Putin speak.
And I think that works sometimes. I mean, fear is a very strong control tactic, but not always, And I
Yeah.
think it's starting to twist over, and people are, I think, honestly, social media is the reason why people are starting to get other perspectives. And as long as there's some access to social media and other cultures and other perspectives, I think you're going to continue to see it being harder for a leader to be able to control the masses like they did, back in the 50s or before social media took off in the way it did. Because in the beginning, even the 90s, like, the younger generation had it, but the older generation didn't take to it. Now, every generation, young and old, is online and being able to communicate very effectively. So I think it's going to become, they're going to have to, I think that's where the misinformation stuff started, because now they're like, okay, if we can infiltrate social media, we can change perspectives, but it's difficult.
Yeah, it's so difficult because they're really censoring, they're really controlling the narrative in Russia. Um, and it's so difficult that people have come up with ideas such as like write reviews to restaurants and let them know what's happening. There was like a sort of pharmacy, online pharmacy, or like a pharmacy that has an online presence, like an app that sent notifications like wake up, look, like there's a war in Ukraine. Like they are resorting to these things because they can't actually speak. Like there's no freedom of speech and there's no freedom of the press. And it's just funny because the name of the country is something like the populist or something like that republic or federation.
I
The
have no idea.
populist federation, Russian Federation, I think it is. 1 second, I need to just double check this.
While you're doing that, I want to point out 50 Shades of Chestpain's comment, who says Ukraine is in this situation because people didn't exercise enough positive thinking, and I tend to agree. That explains everything.
Yeah, yeah,
They didn't manifest enough together.
exactly. No, they manifested this war. Obviously,
Yeah.
they've thought really hard on it until it happened. Yeah.
Agreed.
um yeah, right now it's called the Russian Federation. It used to be called the Popular Republic of, it was like a really long ass name that included all like things like it's for the people, and it's like, it was so shocking, but I'm assuming they changed the name after Stalin. I don't know. Anyways, it's just it's a big scam, essentially what Russia is.
I can't trust anything anymore. Everything I see online, I'm like, I have no idea if, like, every fact that I learned in school about anything, I see something that completely proves it the other way online. And I don't know if that's fake or what I learned was fake. Like, every single thing I look up, like, I don't know, for example, like, does, like, I don't know, does cheese make you stuffy sometimes? And like that's something that I learned when I was young. Like they said, oh, sometimes it can, like, if you have milk and you have a cold, it's not good for you, something like that. And I'll look it up. I was like, absolutely fake, false news. And I'm like, okay, so is it or not? Everything I look up is something I have changed, or there's a different perspective. It's like, I don't know. I can't trust anything
And
anymore.
I think that's really good. I
Yeah,
think that's
true.
what we need to do. I think we need to just kind of wake up and kind of like just think critically, just question everything, because yeah, like there's things that are true and whatever, but then everything has a background story and everything has a reason why it became, even stuff like this. There's a reason why people in Russia are not protesting more. Like if we didn't know about the laws, that the very, very bad fines they're imposing on people, we would just be like, oh, the Russians won the war, so this everything has like
Totally.
a backstory, and I think it's important to just like constantly question things.
Yes, question everything. Trust but verify. I think that's a Russian proverb, but still, I think it makes sense. Like, okay, if someone tells you something, you go, okay, you don't have to say, you're a liar, I don't believe you. But also make sure that you go look it up yourself, or, look at reputable sources, and then also keep an open mind that it still could be wrong.
Yeah.
And I like
Exactly.
Savvy's comments. Savvy Writes Books is here. Hello,
Oh, hi,
hello.
Savvy.
Welcome. And she's talking about The Secret. And I think we all agree. Probably everyone in this chat agrees that The Secret is probably the worst. She says it's the biggest drain on society and contribution to victim blaming. I 100% agree. And whenever I am conflicted or with someone who believes in it, I always say, well, can you explain why children get cancer at 1 year old or 2 years old? Like, because I don't understand. Like, what is there a cutoff point in which you start to control the universe? Because is it 18? Is it 13? Like, you get your bar mitzvah and now you're able to be in control of things. Like, I don't know. Like, there's really no law for the law of attraction as to when your consciousness is able to do this controlling. So
I'm assuming only when you're an adult and you have money to spend on
yes.
on conferences that you can actually, obviously they're not like, as a child you're too stupid to like manifest, like,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah, that's where I
You
go.
need to have money to spend and then you can manifest. Like the whole
Yes.
manifesting thing in the whole law of attraction thing is, have you noticed how it's very money related? I don't know if this is just me, but I find it very like monetarily important.
Of
It's
course.
very like, if you spend money on yourself, if you invest, and by investing on yourself they mean buy my course, then you will attract this money. It's like, and I saw this person, and this person actually is, this is the vlog, I probably spoke about her before, Catherine Manning, and I love her. And but she kind of believes in this law of attraction stuff. But even her, she said at one point that I wish nobody said that to me, because she spent so much money and got into like credit card debt and stuff. She obviously hasn't really traced it and realized that it's coming from the self-help, because she reads a lot of self-help. But basically, even her, she was like, I just wish nobody said that to me, because I spent money I didn't have, and then
Yeah.
she ended up in credit card debt.
Well, it's the couch thing, the Marie Forleo couch scenario. It's like
Yeah.
someone sold their couch to be here. That's how important this, self-help seminar is. And people are like, yeah, okay. So if this woman sold her couch, I'm going to pay the, $2,000 of savings that I have, and I'll get $4,000 back because the universe is going to bless me with double the amount. And then same thing with tithing in the church. You put money in to get money out. It's just like, it's just a tactic
That's
to get
not
you
how
to
it
part with your
works.
cash. Yeah, you can believe that, and maybe it happens, but you have confirmation bias if it happens. Like, oh, I went to the seminar, and the next week I got a new job. Therefore, it makes sense, total sense that, I put the money in. But that's not going to work for everybody. But usually people who it doesn't work for, they're embarrassed, and they don't share their story. It's only the people who, I made $10,000 after attending the seminar, that's going to, come out and say that. So you're not getting the full picture of
And the thing is,
reality.
even if with the people who do have a story like that to tell, if you like actually talk to them and you question it, you'll see that they applied for that job. They did something. It's not about the money they get for the church, or it's not about
Yeah.
the conference, or maybe sometimes it'll be even like, I met this person at the conference, so had I not been there, like, but even that is like, are they dragging you into a pyramid scheme? Like, is
Probably.
this really a place to make money, or is it just
Yeah.
you're just being the product?
I have to be honest here that I was in this pipeline, like this self-help to spending your cash pipeline, because, and Savvy has talked about her before, but Jen Sincero, who's an author,
I've heard
wrote a
of her,
book.
yeah.
You Are a Badass, and You Are a Badass with Money. And when I was all into self-help, I read You Are a Badass, and then I read You Are a Badass with Money. And the big lesson is, from her and from her experience, like, go to seminars, and even if it's 80 grand, it's worth it. And that's what you should do. And you should trust yourself. And if you don't trust that you'll get that money back, then you're never going to succeed. And so
80 grand?
oh yeah, she did like an 80 grand course where she got to like,
No.
yeah. And she's like, oh, I took out credit cards. And, she mentions that her dad's like a successful doctor. I mean, she's a grown woman, but, whenever your family has money, it always makes it a little bit easier, because you could get bailed out if you really screwed yourself over. But, it worked for her. Like, she ended up making money and whatever. But her whole tactic was, yeah, go to all these scammy seminars, and that's going to motivate you to, find money.
I bet she made money if she sold seminars that cost 80 grand.
Well, she didn't sell them. She was going to other people's seminars.
Oh
so
my
she was
God.
spending the money, but she was saying, like, because I spent this money, therefore I became successful myself. And so, taking this idiotic advice, I had signed up because I've talked about this before, but both of us are in the videography space. So I joined this group of videographers, and they were trying to sell me a course for $2,000, like a mastermind. And I was like heavily debating going. I was like, I need to take massive action. I need to like step up, put my money where my mouth is. And I almost did it. And I was paying this guy $100 a month to basically tell me, like, you can do it. And it took me like 3 months to realize. I was like, what the hell am I doing? Like, I've spent $300 for this guy to like text me, good job. And I'm like, whoa, I need help. I need to like get out of this. But it took me, because I was like so motivated by the book. I was like, no, this is going to work. This is going to work. And I took his advice one time. He's like, just ask for like $5,000. I was like, okay. So I asked the client for $5,000, and I never heard from him again. I was like, cool. I just like ruined a possible job and relationship taking this advice and like 100% believing in it and thinking like, yeah, this is going to work. And it didn't. So
It's like a powerful, it's powerful brainwashing, essentially what like exactly like Putin is doing. It's a rhetoric they've been spinning. And even with Jen Sincero, I do wonder if had she been unsuccessful, would she talk about it? And
no.
has she really been successful, or does she need to say she's been successful so that she can make money? Because otherwise she's screwed. She spent so much. Like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? Like, I wonder to what extent we can trust anything that it comes from. Like, it's
No,
I
can't
am
trust anything.
so against that. I don't believe very much,
I agree.
except for like logistical things that they're saying this. I did this or like that. Sure, okay, but like I'm not
The thing
like when it comes to life advice. No,
yeah, and like even like going back to Marie, it's Maria or Marie?
Marie.
Marie Forleo. She did the same thing where she became a life coach with no life experience at 23, and then because she was a life coach at 23, then when she's 30, she says, "Well, I've been a life coach for 10 years." It's like, well, what was your pitch when you were 23? You had no life experience, and now your pitch is, "Well, I've been a life coach for this long." It's like so. And Dean DeGrazio does this too, where he would sell how to become a millionaire course when he was broke. But now that he's sold the millionaire course, now he's a millionaire. It's like, well, where was the part where you started that you weren't lying? Because someone was lying somewhere. If
The thing is, I feel like those stories would be so bad. Like, they will not tell you just how many awful things they've done to really get themselves going. Because the reality is, they must have. Because, like,
Yeah.
there's no way someone is lying that they've been a millionaire to sell you courses about how to become a millionaire, but they are just going to stop at that and they're not going to do anything else
Yeah.
problematic. That's all it's not just that book. It's
I
not
agree.
just that, they have it's a whole thing, a whole plan, a whole strategy to make themselves look more appealing. And with Marie Forleo, I do somewhat give her some credit because she did it. She went to business school, so at least she had some business experience. But like, and she does tend to have like good advice. But I can't get behind the conferences and the, B school, which I don't think it's worth the money from what I've heard. And there's a lot of things, and just the industry as a whole. She seems to sort of believe some of it.
Yeah.
She had like there was a moment on her podcast with Tony Robbins. It was like a video, and he just kissed her hand when he got there, and it
No.
was just like that slimy, like, I don't know, I just didn't like it. Like, I have that image like imprinted in my brain. You know how it is, like, when they're being when a man is being overly polite to a really beautiful woman and stuff, and you feel like uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, it's just a polite gesture, but there's more. Like, it's just
Yeah, it's like,
but I don't think she saw it that way. But her being like, oh my god, Tony, I learned so much from you, and him being like, yes.
Tony, Papa Robbins. That's what I call him now, Papa Robbins, because he's really the father of all
Grandpa Robbins.
these.
Grandpa Robbins.
Grumpy Robbie.
Just bring him down a notch because he thinks he's so hot.
Oh, I know. He thinks he's like God. God said he's on Mount Olympus, which I mean, I guess he is. He's got a lot of money and people worship him. Even people who are successful worship him. So, I mean, he's done something incredibly hard to do, which is convince people that, they should listen to your advice and, die on the hill for it. But, we should talk about Tony Robbins at some point, definitely on this channel, because there's a lot to say. But in the meantime, we're going to talk about Ukraine versus Russia, and this is basically, this TikTok, I think, really sums it up perfectly for us. So I know you have, I've seen all these because I pulled them, but I would love to get your reaction.
Yes.
I'm not going to play the audio because it's got copyrighted music, so. Oh, they're just friends.
So cute.
No fighting. Stop. Just pray and be happy and hug. Guys, it's that easy. It's that easy. Do you think this is cringe? I mean, the kids are adorable, and I'm not judging the kids, but obviously they didn't decide like, hey, let's make a TikTok account in which we paint the flags on our face and hug each other. their parents are behind this. So I think the parents
No,
maybe are
I
a little
don't think it's
cringe.
cringe though. I've seen a lot of this. I've seen soldiers that were in this is sort of TikTok where one of was Ukrainian, was Russian, and they were like at the battlefield and they were like looking at each other. The thing is, I like this is why it's so heartbreaking. Like so many Russian people have family in Ukraine,
Sure.
so many like this because they're they're not saying for nothing that they're very culturally close. They are very culturally close. Even their languages, Ukrainian and Russian, are super similar.
No, no,
And I
no.
just think
Just kidding. Go ahead.
it's heartbreaking. Like,
Yeah.
I know this is like maybe just a little, but still, it's true.
So
There's so many
they're
who have
innocent. So
family
you see
there.
the innocence of the children, and you think of the innocence of like people who are actually fighting for their lives. So you can kind of see it's like, okay, not super cringe. You can see the humanity of it.
It's not even that. I just know the reality that I just know how many people are like have literal family, like not even just friends. They have family in both countries.
Sure.
Just so many, and it's crazy because yeah, they're being sent there, and they literally have to go. Who knows? Some of them maybe they have to go to their like grandma's town or something to
I know.
imagine. Like
That's
it's just
awful.
that's why I feel like I can't really blame it. I can't blame these videos.
Okay. Okay. So Camellia says this one's passable. I kind of
But
agree.
what
This
I
one,
can blame,
this one is better than other ones. Here's a similar
what I
one.
can blame
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
is
Yeah.
the influencers making it about themselves.
So children are okay. I agree. What about
Children are okay,
what about
but
this
those
girl?
influencers who
Okay, watch this one and let me know what you think. This is from the same channel, but this is I guess I'm assuming the mother maybe. So she's done her whole makeup and chosen to put red makeup on half her face and also show us her acting skills.
is this the mommy?
I don't know. I think she just took that other video and put it on, I think, based on because I think those kids have their own account, so I can't tell if she's involved or not, but I think this is cringe in my opinion. It's like you took the time to put the makeup on, to do the beautiful, I mean, she's got beautiful skills for makeup. But this is, to me, it's like the red part, the blood part, I'm like, that's too far. And like, it's not about you.
If she is Ukrainian.
I don't know.
Because
Maybe.
if she's not Ukrainian, this is kind of
She may be.
much.
But someone says, one of the comments is, how can I make this about me? I think it's true. It's like, like I get it. It's an artistic expression. If you're a makeup artist, like how do you, honor what's going on? But I don't know. I still think it comes off as weird.
Yeah.
And
I'm
then not just
loving this.
once, but twice.
no.
Once in black and white for effect, or not black and white, but like a more
There's a
muted
filter.
tone, and once in full color. So I just
There's
think
some-
of like
there's
shooting
some
this
words
like.
in Arabic over there, so I'm going to assume she's Arabic.
Yeah, I have no idea. I only found
Yeah.
this like kind of on DJ Angela. She does a lot of makeup stuff, so I don't think, and she could be Ukrainian, but she does makeup for all types of different events and things. But I'm gonna vote
I could get
no on
behind
this
this
one.
if she was Ukrainian. I could understand, but if she's not,
Fair enough.
just a little.
So only if you're Ukrainian we
Great.
accept this.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's fair. This one though, this is like the big kind of like the pillar of the show today. This person, I'm sure a lot of people have seen this account. This is someone
Now
I recently covered, sort of like slightly in the video I just did about Dr. Amen, the psychiatrist, who like does brain
Which is
scans.
great, by the way.
Thank you. It took me a lot of time to put that together, so I'm glad that people are enjoying it and finding it helpful. But when she went, so I had watched her video from her brain scan like weeks ago, and then she came up because she went viral because of this post that we're going to watch that she made, and it just so happened to be like she was already in the video, so I added this part to it last second. So it kind of worked out well for me because she became relevant. Because she's kind of been, not to be mean, but she hasn't been in a ton of things recently. She was in 90210, the reboot, and she was in Nip Tuck, a show from like early 2000s, and she's been in some, Hallmark movies, kind of like the B-level movies. So she's hasn't been in the national conversation much as like an actress. So now this is kind of a bad reason to be back in the conversation.
Yeah.
But it helped the video give it some relevance.
This was so interesting to me because I even said when Kayla put this on our list, I was like, I just like, I had come across the video and I was like, ooh, yikes. And then I just like scrolled past. I was like, whatever. This is just some TikToker like taking this a little far. But then Kayla's like, oh no, she's famous. She's an actress. I was like, what? No way. No way.
Yeah, like she's pretty good too. She's not a bad actress necessarily, but I think we need to talk about her on a different episode, like explore her, because she's definitely on the wellness like train, and she talks about mental health, and I think a very dangerous way. Honestly, I think it's great when anyone speaks about mental health to get rid of the stigma, but I also think that could become a problem when you talk about mental health in a flippant way, like I have this disorder, I have that disorder, and it may or may not be accurate 100%. Some people like
When
to
you self-diagnose, like Trisha Paytas.
yeah, and I
Well,
think she
not,
and
I don't know if she always has done this. Like maybe there is like one instance where she was actually diagnosed, but she trolled the entire internet by being like every time a disease was like popular, suddenly Trisha Paytas also had it. So yeah, it kind of sounds like that.
yeah. I'll have to find which movies. I looked at her IMDb, and I mean, maybe they're Lifetime movies. They were some like Christmas in Hill song, so I just assumed not Hillsong like the church, but like Hillsong, fake city and Hallmark movie. Okay, so we're gonna watch. So she put this on her Twitter account. This is I won't even say her name. Annalynne McCord. This is, if you want to search her, look her up. But it's about 2 minutes, a little bit more than 2 minutes, and this is the full raw version. You ready?
Yeah.
Dear President Vladimir Putin, I'm so sorry that I was not your mother. If I was your mother, you would have been so loved, held in the arms of joyous light. Never would the stories plight the world unfurled before our eyes, a pure demise of nations sitting peaceful under a night sky. If I was your mother, the world would have been warm. So much laughter and joy, and nothing would harm. I can't imagine the stain, the soul-stealing pain that the little boy you must have seen and believed, and the formulation of thought quickly taught that you lived in a cruel, unjust world. Mm-hmm. Is this why you now decide no one will take the best of you? Is this why you do not hide nor away shy from taking back the world? Was it because so early in life all that strife racked your little body with fear? If I was your mother, if the world was cold, I'd have died to make you.
I don't know a lot about poetry, but she has some like interesting rhyming schemes in here. She rhymes some and doesn't rhyme some, and
That's okay because you can do that. You have artistic freedom. But what happened in the first part is she got a little, she lost her train of thought there. I don't know if you noticed, but she went in a direction where it didn't make sense anymore.
Oh.
We can play it afterwards again. Just
how much in the beginning? Right in the beginning, or
I
like...
would say probably the first 20 seconds or something.
Okay, let's go back.
You would have been so loved, held in the arms of joyous light. Never would the stories plight the world unfurled before our eyes, a pure demise of nations sitting peaceful under a night sky. If I was your mother,
what was that?
The world would have been
the demise of a nation. The demise of a nation sitting under a night sky. What does that mean?
She's talking about Ukraine, maybe like that.
She lost it here. It makes
she
no
lost
sense.
it when she hit record on this. Let's be honest. Like she lost it a long time before that moment.
Exactly.
I gotta say, her hair, 10 out of 10.
I mean, I'm just so jealous.
10
I'm
out of 10 hair.
My curls just don't sit like that.
That is timeless hairstyle. Never's gonna go out of style. Blonde, waves, excellent. Her commentary politically, 0 out of 10. Not good. And she's got a huge Buddha. Like this is, I don't know if you can see this part right there. That is like a life-size Buddha right by her fridge. That can't be, unless it's like on a table and it just like the perspective is weird. But that is weird if that's in her kitchen.
Yeah. I feel like I want to answer to Emery here. Yeah, I'm thinking Putin would be like, "Hi, mommy."
I saw someone say like, how dare she disrespect Putin's mom? Like, what did Putin's mom have to do with this? And it was like, yeah, that's true. It's like as if like all men are decided, like their personalities are decided by their mother's behavior. It's like, oh, so men's problems are women's fault too? Great.
Of course, we have to trace it back to a woman. It could never be just the man's fault. And also, a woman has to give men always the opportunity to grow forever. Anyways, so yeah, his mother, what the like she's
Leave
got
his
nothing
mother
to do with
alone.
Putin being a dictator.
I know.
Also, there's like thousands of men in Russia who didn't become dictators like him.
Yeah, agreed. Do you want to
So
watch?
let's not see.
You want to watch the rest?
Let's watch. I
Okay.
got too angry too quickly.
It gets. I mean, it basically is the same throughout, but I think it's important to get the full artistic experience. You know.
Yes,
You now
that's true.
decide no one will get the best of you.
Also, I don't know who put the subtitles. If it was the channel that did it, or if it's her, but their capitalization is very odd. I don't get it.
Is this why you do not hide nor away shy from taking back the world? Was it because so early in life, all that strife racked your little body with fear? If I was your mother, if the world was cold, I'd have died to make you warm. I'd have died to protect you from the unjust, the violence, the terror, the uncertainty. I would have died to give you life. Oh, dear Mr. President Putin, if only I'd been your mother.
Sorry.
Perhaps the torture of unwrit youth would not within your heart imbue ascription to such fealty against that world that you thought was so cruel. Perhaps you would hold dear human life, and on this night, instead of Mother Russia, you would call me. And I would set your mind quite free with the love that only a mother can give, and only a mother can take away. When holds she doesn't the harm at bay and leaves her boy for the promise of a man. Whatever your story, Mr. President Putin,
What?
I can't imagine how
Where
it
she
feels
get
in your
that?
heart, but I know if I was your mother, I would be a
We're gonna let
start
it ride.
towards the
She's trying to
awareness
say.
of what a powerful being of light.
What were you gonna say?
I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine.
I'm sorry. I can't. Is she trying to say that her mother like left him or something for a man? What is she doing? What is this even true?
I don't know. She intercedes like Mother Russia for mother, and she's all, but then she's like a real mother, but Mother Russia is not. Obviously, the country. I don't know. I think she's just confused about what's going on.
I'm gonna look it up if his parents were divorced.
Yeah, I'm gonna play it. I'm interested to know. Let
You
us
could
know.
be if your mind was only free from the violence you've seen when you were just 2 or 3. I cannot believe I was born too late. In a different place when I would have loved you so. Watched you play wherever you go.
It's great to see you.
Which you play. I like the shade that she threw in your little body because
Little baby body. Yeah.
No, I just feel like he's short. He does have a little
He's short?
body.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah, he's short. So maybe that's why he's striking all these countries because he can't go any taller than that.
Yeah. Well, Annalynne, basically her strife in life is that she was born too late in a place too far away from Vladimir Putin.
My mind is so dirty. Like I can only imagine just how how this would be taken by a guy, like or by not a guy, by a douchey guy, by a frat boy.
Yeah.
That's where my mind is going right
It's
now.
like, you're
What
right.
would the frat boy say if this was about them?
You're right. If only you were my mommy, then I would be better. But since
Yes.
that's impossible, I guess I can just continue my behavior.
But they can call her mommy now,
Mommy. Okay, but This is the best part, everybody at home and Camellia. This is not the first time that Annalynne has come out during major world events to express how she could have made things better. She also has spoken about the George Floyd, not controversy, the George Floyd situation that happened back in 2020 when, as you all remember, George Floyd was pinned down by a police officer and died because of strangulation and getting his oxygen cut off, and it was captured on video and caused a whole lot of problems, and people were upset about it because it was horrifying to watch. But that could have been avoided too if Annalynne was more of a part of this. So I just want to play this as well. And we don't have to watch the whole thing, but this is what she would have done in the George Floyd situation.
Officer Derek would have brought a press conference, and I would have sat down across from him, and I would have said, I'm so sorry, officer, that we failed you in your education, in your community, in your family, in the way we've mismanaged policing for decades. Because if the system had gotten it right, maybe you wouldn't have gotten it so wrong. So please tell us where it all went wrong, because we need to fix this. And you don't fix something by treating the symptoms. You fix it by going to root of the problem. You fix it by cutting off the head of the snake. Right?
Right.
So where did we go wrong, Officer Derek? Where you grew up in a world,
Officer Derek,
in a society, in a family, in a community, where you thought that keeping your knee on the neck of another human person beyond a period of time where they could possibly survive. And I don't care what the autopsy says. What was seen on that video?
oh my God. Okay, sorry, I have to stop for a second.
No.
The pauses are weird. And I gotta say again, hair, different this time, still 10 out of 10.
Still great. Yeah.
Whoever her hairstylist is deserves a lot of praise.
Yeah.
However, her like, I don't know if it's dramatic pauses on purpose or she just has no idea where she's going next with this because it's completely unhinged. But she calls him Officer Derek. I think that's so funny too. It's like his name is Chauvin. No one calls him Officer Derek except for like nobody. Except for her, yeah.
I feel like she's flirting with all these things.
That's what someone said. They're like, it seems oddly sexual. It's like, yeah. It's like if I was your supervisor, I wouldn't have trained you that way. It's like,
Where did we fail you, Derek?
oh God. Yeah.
Okay, so I do to some extent agree with her activism in the sense that there are systemic issues. Yes. However, this was an individual fact. This was an individual acting upon another individual, taking literally someone's life, someone's freedom, someone's everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is not just the systemic issue.
Yeah. Well, I
This
think
was a person doing something.
And I think part of it could be, I mean, it could be systemic in the sense of, the way that they train and the way that they need, policing generally needs more mental health training. I think even police officers would agree with that if they had funding and they had the resources, sure, like why not do more mental health training, like how to deal with people who are in crisis and, whatever, or how to de-escalate better. I think everyone can agree on that. But yeah, this is a one incident that showed, and he was convicted and found guilty of what he's done. So really,
And even that's where the systemic things come into place, because that was a struggle to get him convicted, because he was initially like, I don't know, like level 3 or something, and then they bumped him up to like 2nd degree. Anyways, still, I can see that, there are things that are bigger than people that don't punish what they should punish enough because of other reasons. But
Yeah.
Derek here is guilty as charged. So
Yeah, so justice, I mean, you can always say justice was never done, the person's still gone, but, justice was done in the sense of the justice system actually, from beginning to end, followed through. He's in prison, he has a substantial amount of time to be in prison. And it's like, yeah, if you think that there needs to be systemic change in the police, generally, like, let's talk about it, let's do it, let's, put your money into some organization or talk about it, use your platform for good. But this is just self-serving. It's like, look, I created art based on something that is going on, and that's more about you, to me.
And also, she is well aware of the fact that she got backlash. At least this one is still up, but the one that she posted about Putin, she got backlash and she took it down, of course, and it's no longer on her platform. We could find it only because someone else uploaded it, but
she defended it too. She also
defended it.
Yeah, let me find that. Give me a second. I'll find that.
I sent it to you in the guest chat. There's a link. So she
perfect.
talked to BuzzFeed News and essentially standing by her words, even though she took the video down. I'm assuming she just took the video down not to get the hate comments or something, but she's standing by. She said, we're gonna read the article, but essentially the gist is that she could.
Oh wait, it's still there now. Let's see. Oh, she's still got it up, I think. Or
She's got it on Twitter.
on Twitter.
I tried to find it on TikTok and it was not there.
Okay, so basically the quote at the top says, quote, I know how I could have easily moved in the direction of becoming a dictator myself. How? You were born in fucking California or something. What are you talking about? Were you become the dictator of New Mexico?
Has she ever applied to be like mayor or something?
I don't think so. She left. She was a model at 15. I looked up her stuff a little bit. She
How
became
exactly could she do that?
I don't know. Okay, wait. All right. Blah, blah, blah. Here's the post. Okay, millions watched it. A lot of people were critical of her. Yada, yada, yada. Okay, at the end of the video, which contains an additional minute of poetry and is only available through a Vimeo link. What? Okay. Let me just read it. The details of Putin's early life are scarce. The official story in his biography claims he was raised by two older parents who died before he became president of Russia. But when Putin took office in 1999, a woman claimed that he was her child and said his father made him put him up for adoption. Okay. McCord, so that's Annalynne. Annalynne told BuzzFeed News that she was moved to share the poem after waking up, quote, in anguish over, quote, the children of the war, presumably the young Ukrainians who are experiencing missile attacks around them firsthand. She says she feels for, quote, children who grow into adults and become people who do historically horrifying things. Isn't that literally everybody that's ever done a horrifying thing, like once was a child?
Everyone has like difficulties, and of course there's varying degrees, but you do have free agency. You make choices that are on you.
Yeah. And so then she says, okay, this is the thing I watched the other day, her TED Talk, which was bad in my opinion. She personally understands early life trauma. In a 2017 TED Talk, she discussed the fact that she was raised in a trailer park and became independent from her parents at 15. She has alluded to other traumatic experiences from her childhood in various videos. Okay, but I don't think being born in a trailer park, no offense, but like being born in a trailer park quite is the same as, well, I could have been a dictator too, like Putin. I think those are, it's a fairly common experience in the United States.
Putin had a career in the KGB, which was the secret services of Russia, for a long time. Like that's how he ascended throughout that career. He didn't. I mean, you know what? Zelensky was an actor.
Oh, well, there you go. They're basically one and the same.
He was an actor and comedian, and then Okay, so that means we have 5 minutes, you
Oh,
guys.
God.
So basically, we have a rule because we said we're gonna keep it under an hour because every time we do a live, it gets demonetized. So we're gonna try to keep it monetized.
Within an hour
Um,
ish. Maybe a little bit more than an hour. Maybe just a little bit.
yeah.
I
So
get on here
far,
and I
we
love
have
it.
not been.
I
So far,
know.
we have not been demonetized. So
Okay. Okay, good.
it's looking good, but we have 5 minutes to go until it probably gets demonetized. So.
Okay. We'll see. That's our theory. We think that might be the reason. We're going too long and talking too much.
Yeah.
But okay, this is where she talks about why she did the poem. Okay. Though her poem is directed towards Putin himself, she said her mission is to raise awareness about the changes needed within, quote, education systems to, quote, protect children and stop creating dictators and abusers and enslavers and rapists and bullies, end quote. She suggested we add, quote, nervous system regulation practice as a, quote, mandatory tool for young children to, quote, stop the pandemic of violence.
Wow, okay. I mean,
Okay.
we're not even talking about finances in schools, and we're adding like nervous system regulation. I feel like we need to take it slow. This is change does not come that quickly, but also nervous system regulation, as far as I know, is something. Yeah, it's helpful, but it's most helpful for people who are traumatized. Like
Yeah.
if you have not been traumatized, you probably don't have an issue regulating your nervous system. So,
Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily bad. I know some schools have meditation in the morning or optional, teaching kids how to meditate or, I don't know, sit in silence more. That's fine. I have no problem with that at all. Is that going to stop dictatorship across the globe? I don't think so.
what we did in Romania, and this is how you're gonna see why I'm so aware of these things in Russia, because we have remnants, or we had, I don't know if there's still anymore, but remnants of the Soviet Union. So what we did is every day, the first thing we would get up and sing the anthem, the national anthem, every single day. And my parents before me, and other generations that grew up under communism, they didn't sing even the national anthem. It was an ode to the dictator. So the brainwashing starts early in kindergarten. Every day you're singing how amazing the dictator is. Of course you're gonna start to believe it. Of course.
Well, why would you not? Especially as a kid, you're new to the world. You have no idea. You just do what you're supposed to do. And when I grew up too, we had to do the Pledge of Allegiance every morning. I think most public schools did that, I would imagine. And then, I lived in Canada for a couple years when I was 10, and we sang "O Canada." But the cool part was, in "O Canada," they had remixes. So they had like the rap version, and then they had like a hip hop version, then they had the traditional version. And depending on what day of the week it was, they would play different ones, so you could like mix it up a little bit.
I like the idea of like them singing an ode to Putin in a rap version.
Yeah.
Yo, Poot.
Yo, Poot. Well, I think Annalynne should write the lyrics if
Oh my God.
if they ever do have
know
a
if
rap
she
version.
can handle the task. But I'm sure that Putin does this thing where he offers flowers to women who visit him. So
Oh, well, there you
I'm
go.
sure they would have a lovely little exchange there.
Yeah.
Like she'd be like, "I want to be your mother."
Dear Daddy Putin.
Okay, let's try to keep it under an hour. We've not been demonetized, you guys. We're still going strong, so let's keep it.
Everyone,
I say.
everyone's, not everyone, I shouldn't say. Some people are saying don't get off. They're saying stay.
I know, but then it takes
What do
like
you think?
72 hours.
I know. Should we just, I don't know. I'm so torn. I want to stay on because I'm having fun. What do you think?
I'm also having fun. But I don't know, I'm torn too.
Well,
I feel like I'm gonna be the bad guy here.
some people are saying we should just come back live on a separate video. We could do that.
We could try.
See if that helps. So we could go, okay, we'll go off now and then we'll start the next one like in a minute.
there you go.
Let's do that.
Yeah, we had a little. I saw it. So yes, at 1 hour it changes monetization.
It went
status.
off?
It didn't.
Okay.
It didn't, but it changed the thing. briefly, and I saw it.
Okay.
So now we know that they're doing
At
something.
1
I guess
hour. Okay.
yeah. Wow, this is shocking. Like the stuff that YouTube does. Can you believe it?
I know. I think it's my guess is that it's because we're a newer channel. This channel was created like a month ago, 2 months ago. So maybe they're flagging us as like untrustworthy.
Yeah.
Everyone's saying, can we start a new one?
No, let's keep going because now we can keep going for another bit. But
Okay.
We'll
watch
had
it.
dinner, so at one point I will have to go. But
Okay.
we do still have like a few points to talk about.
Okay.
So let's
Yay!
stay. If
Okay, wait,
it's
hold
not
on.
yet. Sorry about this, guys, but we've been struggling since we started. Yes.
All right, we're staying. Okay. So let's wrap up her response to the backlash that she got. So McCord, Annalynne is the founder of the Love Storm, a self-described, quote, global initiative raising awareness on human trafficking in an educational and empowering way. The Love Storm's main mission, according to its website, is a mass meditation aimed at raising the collective energy against slavery of the mind and the body. Now, that's something that she said in her TED Talk. She said that everyone is enslaved. Everyone in the world is enslaved because we're all being controlled mentally. We're being enslaved mentally.
You know,
I didn't think that was a great
words
take.
have meanings.
Yeah. So I didn't look into her nonprofit. I don't know if it's an official nonprofit or just some sort of initiative that she's doing, but based on a mass meditation aimed at raising the collective energy against slavery of the mind, to me sounds a little bit pointless. And I'm sorry, but okay, like the issue, let's say, you know, she's saying she's fighting human trafficking. The way she's fighting that is by having people meditate on it. It seems a little bit like, okay, how about we meditate and donate money? Let's meditate and also send support to other organizations that kind of maybe know more about how to combat this problem.
Yeah. I don't know if human traffickers care. Oh my God, we're probably gonna get demonetized with this word. But I don't know if they care about HTs. I don't know if they care about meditation or whether when they meditate, they suddenly realize that their careers are awful. I think they are pretty much aware.
Yeah. Do you see this part right here? We should watch maybe this video. It says, a YouTube video on the website declares human trafficking to modern day slavery, a common talking point among human rights organizations. I think I've heard that before. It sounds pretty normal. It then transitions to footage of Annalynne giving a speech about how the root of human trafficking is the mind.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah,
but that's not really the root. The root is there's an industry.
Yeah, the root is money and profiting. Yeah. Oh God. Okay. I need to say this up front. I have not seen this video, so I cannot say if it's horrible, interesting, or pointless.
How long is it?
3 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, it says the International Labor Organization estimates that there are 40.3 million victims of human trafficking globally.
This is a crime that now floats under the radar. People are actively trying to cover up this crime so that they may continue to profit from it.
These children need a voice, and you have to be it. We need to work together to support these victims and to make sure that there's not one more child sold.
The language that I want to change is the idea that slavery doesn't affect us, that it's over there somewhere and not right here, right now. When did we think that it was okay to create traffickers and to create rapists and to create bullies and to create abusers?
Audio is so
I don't want to treat the
bad.
symptoms when it comes to human trafficking. I want to go to the root of the issue. And that starts right here in all of our minds. 45.6 million slaves in the world. I say the number is 7 billion.
No one is born hating another.
Okay.
So obviously she's done some research and she has heard of the fact that there tends to be a problem in that we treat the symptoms. But that's as far as her research went. And then instead of really finding the
Another
cause,
person.
she was like the mind.
The mind. But can we elaborate a little? Like, no elaboration, just it's all in our mind. It's all in our mind, or it is the mind, or the people who human traffic have mental issues. Like, I would agree probably with 2 of those statements. I don't think it's in our mind.
I don't know that we create them.
Oh God.
I don't know that we create them. I think they create themselves, but also, well, some people are forced into it, but there's an industry. It's not us. It's not us. It's not the general population, the average citizen that's at fault for this.
Yeah, I agree. It goes on to say, further writing on the website, which I think we should look at the website too, maybe, declares slavery to be a, quote, a concept, and that, quote, clearing the mind will lead to the eradication of human trafficking. See, I have a problem with this.
Yeah.
And I guess this is her thing. This is her group, I believe. Let me not say that for sure. I think this is her group.
Okay,
Yeah.
so she has a cause. Okay, and that's very good, Annalynne. That's very good. We appreciate that you try, but
Okay, this is her thing. We thought slavery was a thing of the past. We haven't been paying attention. Albert Einstein said, we cannot solve problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. I say, we cannot combat the world's issues with the same energy we used to create them. In history, violence has often been met with violence or a protesting resistance, and so our issues persist. Imagine a world where we match intensities but without the fear. A storm is never afraid, and where love is, fear cannot be. Where love is, fear cannot be. The Love Storm is a global initiative raising awareness on human trafficking in an educational and empowering way by hosting mass meditations, in over 20 cities around the world. The Love Storm aims to lead the conversation that we must fight slavery from inside out. Each city will be represented for the work being accomplished locally, while we also educate on our imperative need to unite in order to end the global epidemic that is modern-day slave trade.
excuse me, what is that program? She says it's a program. What program does she mean? Is this something you have to pay for?
I don't know. The program will highlight local organizations. Okay, that's good. I think that's what you should do, probably, because I don't think she has a great understanding about what to do in this very complicated and nuanced issue. Law enforcement and government officials actively combating human trafficking in their region. Okay, great. I agree with that. Enlist doctors or neuroscientists. Why? To educate on the powerful science behind mass meditation and its
Please
mind.
don't bring Joe Dispenza.
She could bring Dr. Amen, because that's apparently her psychiatrist.
Oh.
And its mind-freeing and healing effects on communities and the individual. Include child-led meditation and movement exercises.
Okay.
Feature the main event, a compassion-based meditation/prayer called Metta, said aloud in unison. So Mark Zuckerberg is going to come out and be like, excuse me.
Copyright
strike. Copyright infringement, ma'am.
So where did this go? Do they even have one? One of these programs?
Well, there she is up there with some children. Again, I hate to bring it up again, but her hair, no matter what the situation.
And that's such like a white savior picture. I
totally.
can't stand it.
Yeah, I know. That's a big problem. Okay. We already saw that. Oh, it's specifically apparently in Cambodia and Southeast Asia. I didn't see that anywhere before.
Did you see that comment, Dr. Anus?
No.
Oh no, that's hilarious.
Okay. I in Santa Clarita, California. You can look up where
This is interesting because here's the thing. I do appreciate activism, you know. So, but it's just not done right. Like that's just activism. What did she create this out of her own brain? Did she not think maybe let me reach out to these organizations and see what they say we should do rather than me come up with mass meditations for stopping HT?
Yeah. And I listened to the Conspirituality podcast, which is a really good podcast in my opinion, where they talk about how, and it's a lot of people who formerly were in cults or groups where they had controlled mind thinking, and a lot of them did mass meditations for peace and for different things. Like that was a big thing that they did, part of their cults, were to meditate at the same time for hours and hours and hours to control world events. So this is not a new concept necessarily. This is an old concept that she's trying to put into some sort of like
just rebrand,
non-profit. Yeah, rebrand it into helpful, but
yeah, that's the world is a lot harsher than that, I'm afraid.
Yeah. Well, that's that.
That's
her response.
I don't think that HTers would come to this meditation in the first place.
No.
So.
Well, I guess the whole concept is like, if you believe in that thing where it's like, well, if everyone has the energy of whatever, like of love, then evil cannot persist or whatever. So it's not like there's just those people will die or something. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have that like magical thinking, so I don't know what they actually think.
Yeah.
But that's a little concerning, I think, to me.
It's also kind of like taking space away from the people that are actually doing some stuff in that area, because those people there's probably people who are doing the right things, and they don't get that much press coverage, and they need it or I don't know, maybe they don't want it, I don't know, but I'm assuming that someone famous like her stepping into this with like this like woo-woo meditation for HT and I don't know what, it's just kind of taking away from the real conversation. It's not adding anything productive, because it's not even done enough to like bring it more into people's awareness. It's just kind of taking in like unnecessary space. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I think that's what the argument is for a lot of issues. It's like, don't just come on a platform that you have a lot of followers and spew your opinion about whatever, even if it's a positive opinion. Instead, if you have a big platform and you really want to help, just platform other people who actually work in the space, understand the ins and outs of it, and that's the best use of your platform, that you can help people. Yeah. Because if you turn it into a poem, then it becomes about like how silly it is or how it's perceived, and
it's not the right approach, because that's just like kind of somewhat parallel to reality. Yeah, that's not how it works, unfortunately.
And I brought this clip up because I wanted to so let me start from the beginning. So this is a local news broadcast company that owns TV stations across the country in the United States. And they have come up with this concept that's like, oh, we're going to do a digital news show where it's like more like The View, kind of like, we can have our opinions and whatever. Great, wonderful. So I think they have a very weird take on all of the people they talk about like, oh, people got backlash for comments on Ukraine, but this whole group, and I think they're afraid to give their real opinions, but they have just I don't know, they like defend all of them as if like they're really helping the issues, and I thought it was something that we should watch. So, and they talk about the Annalynne, and they talk about her human trafficking stuff. Sorry.
That's okay. I think we said it a few times at this point.
Okay. She talks about that stuff. Let's just watch it.
See if that had an impact.
Okay, yeah.
So some stars are finding themselves in the middle of the Ukraine conflict in Russia. Many of you have seen the photos. Sean Penn was at a press briefing yesterday in Kyiv. He's there filming a documentary. He was also seen speaking with Ukraine's president in a video that was posted on the president's president's official Instagram account. And former Dancing with the Stars pro Max Chermakovsky, sorry about that, has been posting videos from his home country since the invasion started, but said he also has no plans to flee. Watch.
I'm not currently trying to leave. I'm staying here. I'm going to do my best to make sure that I'm as safe as possible, but I'm not moving towards the border currently. I heard not safe, and they're also reporting that it's quite dangerous, and there are a lot of just senseless activity going on outside of war stuff.
And Max's wife, Peta, also posted a message on Instagram pleading for his safe return to the U.S. He also went on talking about how he has PTSD that he thought he recovered from growing up in Ukraine with all the turmoil. And now that he's there, it's full force. My heart broke for not only him, but again, when you're a wife or a child back home,
I couldn't imagine.
Helpless.
I couldn't imagine, just like what these, and it's that trauma, because, you know, we're assuming and hoping that everybody makes it through this safely. But I mean, just because you're still alive physically doesn't mean that the scars aren't going to be with you forever. And now you're putting trauma on top of trauma. I don't even know how much research we have for that in terms of how much war people can take over the course of. He's a young man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really scary.
I don't think the video shows enough the meaning behind that. I'm stuck in a country that Russia is bombing right now, and I don't know if I could get to the border while my wife reaches out and says, I want you home safely. Like, he was very calm in that video, but the reality of the situation is not so calm.
That's actually really interesting you say that. They say that Holocaust survivors and anyone with PTSD or strong trauma just get really flat and have sort of a flat affect. And I think you see it's survival mode. There's no other way to do it. You either go and break down or you just go and do your job, which is unbelievable.
The two women in this, I think the men kind of just like stated exactly what the video was showing, you know, like, oh yes, that's horrible. Yeah, okay, I think we can agree. But she's like, they say, like, who? Can we get a source or something about that? And also it's like, I don't know. I think this whole show is pointless.
Comparing it to a Holocaust survivor, that's like, that's not the same.
I don't know.
That's not the same thing.
I agree.
They were traumatized in different. I don't know. Also, he's not. He can't possibly be. That was like so long ago. He would be like 90 or whatever.
Well, she's saying like, oh, because he's like very calm in the video, that means, oh, well, yeah, that's how Holocaust survivors work too. It's like, I mean, maybe in some cases, but not every case. And as you're on the news, I think you should be giving sources from where you're getting these studies and stuff. But they're going to go on to talk about Sean Penn, which I thought was interesting, where they're like, oh, he doesn't get enough credit. It's like, why is Sean Penn there? I think maybe the journalists who actually cover war and Russia and Ukraine should be there, but Sean Penn just flies in on flies a private jet, gets over there, gets all the popularity and attention, and then he flies back. I don't know. I think it's kind of like, I'm kind of against it.
I didn't know he did that. Really?
Yeah, like he's gone, I guess. I mean, he's not living in Ukraine, I don't think.
What?
He's working for Vice. He did it with El Chapo too. He did an interview. He interviewed El Chapo for Vice, and people were like, "Oh my God, Sean Penn's such a badass." It's like, okay, but other journalists do this every single day of their lives, and no one cares at all.
And they're still there. The journalists.
Yeah. He flew in, flew out. He's gone. I think I shouldn't say that. I don't know for sure, but yeah. Okay, so they talked about that.
Speaking of doing their job, Sean Penn, I mean, wow, that guy.
The El Chapo, now this.
Always there.
Walking the walk. I mean, that guy's there.
He's been doing it for decades, and just nobody gives him credit. So.
What? I was just like, well, no one gives him credit for what? He's an actor. What does he want credit for? Because he's like getting paid to go and produce a documentary? What credit more does he need than like the payment that he's getting? I don't get it.
Yeah,
we do.
Meantime, we do. I hate the show. Anyways, obviously you can tell. But then now they're going to talk about, now apparently this woman who's speaking here knows Annalynne personally. So I think that's where the opinions are coming from, obviously, but she's going to talk about that whole case now.
And some stars are facing backlash for having missed the mark with their social media posts, but did they really? We're going to talk about that, okay? So let's take a look and see. First, friend of the show, actress Annalynne McCord posted a poem to Russian President Vladimir Putin. Watch.
They don't play
if
the
I
whole
was
thing.
your mother, you would have been so loved. held in the arms of joyous light. Never would the stories plight the
Friend
world
of the show, too.
unfurled before our eyes, a pure demise of nations sitting peaceful under a night sky. If I was your mother, the world would have been warm.
What do you think? Cringy or does she trying
Cringy.
to make
Yes,
a point?
cringy.
I think
Come
she's
on.
speaking from her heart. I don't think she's trying to
Oh
offend
my
anybody. And this is
God.
how she communicates.
Is he
To me,
serious?
not cringy at all. She's trying to help, but other people might look on to this and say, "How dare you?" I don't know what they would say. To me, not cringy.
How dare you don't grieve like I?
Yeah, it's not the same.
That's
It's
what
not
I
the
got
same.
from it. You know, and Tori, I want to hear what you feel about it. I think some people attack hate with equal amounts of hate. Like, you hate me, I hate you, and here are the reasons why I'm justified in that. And some people meet that same amount of hate with love. There's always that famous picture of the person putting
This
the
was
rose
not
in
love,
the
though.
soldier in the soldier.
It's such a weird take, right?
Yeah.
Right, I
feel
believe
like
that was Kent.
They need someone like us there to just be like criticizing.
We need to be in the
They don't
control room, like,
understand.
what?
They don't understand people. How, like, what? No, that's not what she did. She didn't just meet it with love.
Yeah. Oh, how dare you not grieve like I grieve? Okay, yeah, I get that, but come on.
She literally blames her, like, his mother. That's not just.
And what is she grieving about? She has no connection to it. That I know.
She's not in a place to, like, she can just keep her grievances, like, private because this isn't about her.
Yeah, how about you read your poem at a poetry slam in, Calabasas and call it a day? Why do you have to post it on Twitter and then take the backlash and then talk about how we need more meditation? It's like, come on. I don't know. But also, like, we need to keep in mind, this is not like a real newscast. However, it's interesting to see how the woman who started it. Oh, thank you, Daniela.
Thank you.
Woo. How she almost led everyone on this table to say what she wants them to say. She not only said, friend of the show, so that's already a statement that's leading everyone down a certain path. Their script said something like, oh, celebrities are getting backlash for their cringy behavior, or are they? So she added that, like, oh, there's an alternative opinion. Then, so she was leading everyone to basically not say mean things about her friend, which I think is unfair. But you can see how everyone just, like, then changes or maybe they didn't change, but they are sure to follow exactly how she kind of led them down. It's very interesting.
And it's also kind of like almost taking the side of a problematic person. I don't know to what extent this is because it's her friend, this is because it's an attractive woman, but it's just a bit like, okay, can you first listen and form an opinion? And I don't know, it's like the reaction is very quick and very positive for what just there's a reason this became viral, and there's a reason they know that so many people are like just have a problem with this. They didn't think to look it up and just see what the problems people had with it were, and let's see if they address it, because I'm curious.
Yeah, let's see.
State, I believe, and so I think that things like that are always judged differently. Somebody could look at that photo and be like, "You need a bullet for that gun, not a rose." I mean, that's a valid reason too, but you don't attack the person for trying to do.
Yeah,
right.
especially when it's
Who's saying that they're attacking her? Anyways, but okay.
Like artistic, right? Like that was her spoken word, that's her art, that's how she deals. I think what rubbed people a little cringy is trying to humanize Putin is sort of not the way I think most people want to go. To me, Putin is a war criminal. He's like Hitler. And to be like...
She loves the Holocaust references. She's like obsessed with that.
Had I been your mother, you would have been loved. Felt a little like Kendall Jenner with the Pepsi can. Do you know what I mean?
I know between the two of them, and I have to say this because I've known Annalynne for 20 plus years. This is a girl that grew up literally on the streets in a trailer, ran away from home at 15.
Okay, just a side note. A trailer and living on the streets are two different things.
Seen, not to compare it all to what people are going through in Ukraine, but a lot of people look at her and they say, really beautiful, famous actress. And unfortunately, they don't understand the hustle that she has had to endure and the trauma also. She told our show, I'm not saying this for her, a victim of sexual abuse, someone that has been there on the front lines in other countries helping refugees and also helping sex traffic victims personally. This is someone, in my opinion, who not only was trying to poetically speak about if you hurt people, to Jeff's point, but I also think there's a dig there. Annalynne is very smart. She knows that Vladimir Putin has a lot of ego. She also, in my opinion, wanted to be like, this is a hurt child, which is the worst thing Vladimir Putin wants to be compared to, is this little baby child with a soft ego. So I think there's many layers to her poem, and I think people don't see it because of her aesthetic, unfortunately.
That's really interesting.
Is it interesting? Is it actually interesting, though?
It just seemed like a lot of word salad.
And I'm sorry, I think you got lost for a second there, Camellia, so I don't know if you saw the whole thing, but...
Sorry about that. I don't know, it kicked me out.
That's weird. But you're back. You're back now.
Yeah.
So basically she said, I don't know if you missed the whole thing, but she basically said like, well, because this woman, you know, I think trying to play devil's advocate to the other woman that's on the desk, said, well, this kind of reminds people of like Kendall Jenner and the Pepsi commercial, and people think it's not real, it's not being completely, I don't know, like helpful in the situation. And then the other woman comes on and goes, well, you know, the difference is Annalynne grew up on the streets in a trailer, which are two different things, and she was the victim of abuse. So, you know, and she's on the front lines of helping people with HT, and so that's the difference. And, you know, her poem was actually really smart because she compares Putin to a little boy, so it's like very deep, and, you know, blah, blah, it's like,
yes,
okay.
But in the meantime, she's doing a huge disservice to women by putting the blame on them for something a literal 70-year-old did.
Yeah, and like, do you think Putin is really watching Twitter and seeing what American celebrities are saying?
Couldn't give less of a fuck about Twitter or anything.
And then she's saying, like, on top of it, you know, I've pointed out her beautiful hair and her beautiful skin and whatever many times already as, you know, kind of a joke, but she's saying the opposite, like, well, no one cares about her, no one will listen to her because she's so beautiful. It's like, I don't know.
I think maybe the opposite.
Yeah, me too. I think it's like, I don't know. I think she gets any attention at all. If it was just a random woman on the internet putting a poem, no one would care at all. But she get like 3 likes and then that would be it. Because she's a famous actress, she's getting any attention at all. But I thought that was just a weird take on the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm not really impressed with Daily Blast Live.
No. It's just, and this is supposed to be, this is a side tangent, but you know, this is what news in this country has started to go to. You know, local news is so important, I think, to any society, and fighting misinformation and helping people locally understand their community. And you know, I'm a big advocate for news, local news especially, because I was in it and I saw the issues with it. But this is like not the solution to fixing the problem with local news and how it's not profitable. Having these random people give random takes on random things. We have enough of that on YouTube. Why are you putting this on TV? Like, I don't get it. I don't like it at all. There needs to be unbiased news coverage, and we need to focus on that as a society, because this is just bad. And then, do you want to watch the Joy Behar part? We haven't talked about that yet.
Let's go.
Okay.
Okay. This is interesting. I can't wait to hear your points of view. Joy Behar, if you guys have seen it, she's getting slammed after complaining that the conflict may interfere with her travel plans. Watch.
Well, we can't watch because there's an ad for 5 seconds. But I think this is kind of like a interesting, not an interesting take, but this is one of the things that people are talking about a lot with the why this matters.
What's going to happen in Western Europe too.
Yeah.
You know, you plan a trip, you want to go there. I want to go to Italy for 4 years. I haven't been able to make it because of the pandemic, and now this. You know, it's like what's going to happen there?
Yeah.
Too.
So, the conflict really only affects Joy Behar's Italian vacation somehow.
Yeah, of course.
She hasn't been able to go for 4
him.
years.
Oh.
And now she has to wait because there's a war going on. Poor Joy.
They Putin, just stop the war. Joy needs her vacation.
She needs to go to get some spaghetti.
Putin is so insensitive, seriously.
I know. He doesn't care. Like, people need to experience.
Of course.
Spaghetti.
She needs time off from work. Like,
Yeah.
he needs to stop the war immediately.
Just stop the war. I want to travel. So,
Yeah.
but there, I think, I don't remember exactly what they said, but like, oh, because she's not a friend of the show, it's okay to criticize this. It's like,
Yeah, but I mean, that's not biased at all. Like,
I
that's just
know.
perfect journalism. I love it.
now they're all like looking to her like, oh, are we allowed to be mad about this one or no? I'll just play. I forget what they said, but we'll play it out.
What do you think, Al?
Are they really? Are they?
No, I didn't think it was a great take, Jess. When you're on a show to have takes, that was not the best one. I think that
Says you.
she was trying to personalize it, but I think she personalized it to herself, which is it's an army of one. Very few people live that lifestyle of a planned Italy vacation. And I think she was trying to relate to her audience, but it came off beyond tone deaf and was starting to wade into the realm of offensive, even though I don't think that was her intention. I think she totally missed with that.
Yeah, and Annalynne didn't?
I know. The only reason I think this is important because it really does affect how people speak in front of other people is when you're afraid to have an opinion because someone's sitting there that has a different opinion, that can lead a whole conversation in a different way. And if you're doing it on the news, that's not okay. I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It bothers me so much because it's the same exact thing. They're both insensitive.
Yeah, and they both made it about themselves.
She literally
Annalynne starts with, if I was your mother.
If I was your mother, you wouldn't be going to war. How is that not, making it about you?
Yeah, because she would be such a, much better mother than Putin's mother. Who failed. So failed.
It's all
of course
women.
It's her fault.
Women's faults. Yeah, they're all just
but if all women were like Annalynne, I mean, this world would be a different place, you guys.
We all have.
Just take notes from Annalynne because someday you might have a kid, he might turn out to be a dictator. So,
and she doesn't have children either. Just FYI, she's
this is the icing on the cake.
I don't have children. We not make fun of, but we talk about and sort of make fun of parents, doing cringy stuff. But like, I don't also say, well, if I was a parent, I would do this and I would save humanity.
It's so lovely to do that.
Yeah.
But, Annalynne just did it really well. Really well, I would say.
Yeah, she has the best
to
take.
criticize. There's absolutely nothing to criticize, especially in this guy's eyes.
Well, she grew up in a trailer park, so she can say whatever she wants.
Could never be criticized. Yeah.
There's
everything she does is right because of that.
Yeah. Do you want to watch the end? I don't remember what's at the end. There's one thing about John Cena too, so I don't know.
But then I would have to go because
Okay.
I have to go to dinner. Sorry about that, you guys.
How dare you? No,
I know.
Absolutely.
This will be our This will be our wrap up.
Yeah, I didn't mean to jump in on Joy because I'm not. I mean, I have sympathy for her and what she says on TV because sometimes you don't think it through. But as a person of America, this is exactly what I mean with that warm, cozy blanket, right? You get so comfortable, the things that come out of your mouth make sense in your world, right? And again, I'm not knocking Joy because she built her career up to where it is. But she's at a place right now where maybe these things aren't affecting her the same way it would if you were at street level, right?
If you had lived in a trailer park when you were a child, that's the real people who can
He's
criticize.
so harsh on Joe. So harsh.
Yeah.
But this is a very big contrast. Like, I'm shocked.
It's the same argument. Yeah. But for a different woman. And maybe it's because you said, Joy is an older woman and Annalynne is a younger woman who's attractive, conventionally. Is that why they're acting this way? Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
It's literally the same argument could be said for both.
Yeah.
And I say things all the time out of context on this show again. But it's like, as Americans, we're very comfortable where we're at when we're complaining about everything else in the world, what's going on, who should be hosting The Bachelor, and there's tragedy around the world.
Tori, I want to get your opinion on this last one. John Cena faced some heat online after people said he used the situation in Ukraine to promote his HBO show Peacemaker. When he tweeted, quote, "If I could somehow summon the powers of a real-life peacemaker, I think this would be a great time to do so." What did you think, Tori?
I mean, talk about tone deaf.
Yeah,
That's probably the
talk
best
about
one.
that.
That's probably the least offensive one I've seen so far.
Wow.
In the middle of a war, I watched a NICU be put into a makeshift bomb shelter, and they're squeezing these little babies, and he's hashtagging his plug for his movie. John Cena is a great guy. He has done, I believe, more Make-A-Wishes than any human being on earth. I'm not putting it down. But that was a shameless plug, and you exploited people in war. And I think that he should just straight up say, I'm sorry, and move on.
Okay, but Annalynne made money from this.
I think that was pretty tone deaf.
Yeah, they're all tone deaf. Why does she get a free pass? I don't understand. I mean, I understand because the woman's
God.
there. She's a friend of the show. Don't say anything. Like, that's the underlying
this
sentiment.
was
but
so bad. Like, what?
Yeah. I mean, John Cena literally learned how to speak Mandarin to apologize to China for whatever. So he's, you know, he's all about the market. I think that's kind of well known at this point, that John Cena is on the side of capitalism always, forever. So I'm not really surprised by his tweet at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably just like some of them, but I'm assuming much more influencers have said things that are not quite like okay to say. To be honest, it is. I would say it is a situation in which, and I did talk about this briefly on in my video about Rachel Hollis, and there were some comments that I really thought about it, and I did say that I feel like she didn't mention it at all. Like she's just keeping going with her content, and I'm assuming that's probably helpful to some people. But if there are like listeners from Ukraine or people, you know, like me who are in the neighboring countries of Ukraine and stuff like that, it does hurt a little bit that it's like a huge thing in the world and it's not being like addressed at all, not even a little bit.
Yeah. I think people who are so afraid of any sort of criticism at all, they'll just err on the side of not saying anything because they can't handle being told like that was out of touch or you shouldn't have said something. So they'll just say nothing, which I guess is probably the best solution if you don't want to have any criticism. I don't know. I mean, Rachel's never talked. She never spoke about the Black Lives Matter stuff. She never talked about George Floyd when that was going on. And she announced that there's some speculation as to why they announced the divorce when they did, because it had been a month when they talked about it privately until they announced it. And it was when everyone was posting like the black square on their Instagram. She had said the divorce and then went offline, like announced the divorce and then left to basically, I don't know.
God, yeah.
So people were speculating like, oh, well, she's got a big family crisis going on. That's why she's not discussing race in any sort of context. I think she's afraid to turn anyone off, especially now when she's turned a lot of people off. So she's like uber concerned about, turning down any sort of future income.
Yeah. Well, okay. Let's leave it here because I feel like we should do a separate thing for Rachel at some point soon.
Definitely. For sure.
There's been a lot of stuff.
Well, I think tomorrow on my channel, because I usually have been doing them on Tuesdays because Rachel comes out with Rach Talk on Monday and a podcast on Tuesday morning. So I've been doing like Tuesday afternoon lives. But because I had an unrelated to YouTube work thing to do Tuesday, so I'm pushing it back to Friday tomorrow. So I'll be talking about her latest Rach Talk and the latest podcast about her running the marathon that you had talked about on your channel. So that'll be tomorrow if anyone's interested. And then we can talk about Rachel again, I think, maybe next week or...
We certainly should because...
there's so much to say.
There's so much to catch up on.
Yeah. A lot has been going on in the Rachel universe, the Hollisverse.
Yeah.
As per usual. All right, everybody.
All right, everybody.
Toodles.
Thank you so much for watching us.
We're out of here.
We shall see you next Thursday at the same time.
Yes, we will be here. And we'll put some comments. We'll put up another post about what you guys want to talk about specifically. Yeah. That always is fun to see and have like a little poll going.
We have a huge list going, so.
Yeah. Let us know. We'll be here. Yeah. We love you guys deep in our hearts.
I mean, as Dave Hollis would say, I love you 3 times in the same post.
Here's a Dave Hollis.
Same.
Get a life. Get a life.
Wait, does this work? I got a new thing. Does that work? Damn.
No.
Get a life.
That's the only one that
Get
works.
a life, you guys. I'm gonna go get dinner instead, but you guys get a life.